Hi, welcome back to Cloud on Air, the journey from big data to AI. I'm Dan McClary, product manager at Google, and now we're going to talk about reimagining your data warehouse using Google Cloud Platform. Now, IDC suggests that 163 zettabytes of data will be created by 2025. That's 1 trillion gigabytes. And in fact, debates are ongoing around what to call the next largest unit of data. It may be the brontobyte or the hellabyte. That's an awful lot of data. However, as we think about our journey to AI, one of the things that's fundamental to it is that if you can't figure out how to integrate, manage, or use your big data, you may miss out on the benefits of machine intelligence. In fact, Peter Norvig's classic paper argues that part of the reason modern AI is as successful as it is because having a tremendous amount of data makes it easy to learn things. However, the Harvard Business Review reported in April of this year that organizations use less than 50% of their structured data to make decisions. More than that, they use less than 1% of their data, or their unstructured data, to analyze and make decisions. So the question then is, how do we find the tools and platforms necessary to help us make sense of huge amounts of data and growing volumes of data in a really simple fashion? Well, one of the ways we can think about this is by thinking about modernizing our data warehouse, thinking about what we've done in the past and what we want to achieve on our journey to AI, and what role does the data warehouse play in that? Now, what better way to perhaps demonstrate what it might be like to have a modernization of our data warehouse than to actually analyze some data about where to build a warehouse? In this case, we're not going to talk about a data warehouse, we're going to talk about a physical warehouse. So let's take a look. Now, you can see here I'm in Google BigQuery, which we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about today. And I have here a data set around retail data. I have customers, I have dates, I have products, I have locations, I have lots and lots of sales. Now, you can see it's a relatively complex schema. It's got things around baskets of orders and their prices and things like that. But the thing I want to point out to you is here, when we look at the size of it, this sales data alone is 1.09 petabytes. That's a huge amount of data. Well, gosh, if I wanted to figure out where to put a new warehouse location, I'd probably want to go through and look at my historical sales and understand where that data might go. Well, I've prepared a query to help us take a look at how we might do that. So let's see. Here we go. One of the nice things about a system like BigQuery as a modern data warehouse is it keeps track of the queries that you've run, so it's easy to figure out what you're looking for. Now, I'm going to look at that petabyte of sales data. And what I'm going to find out here is I want to figure out what are the locations in which my customers are paying the most in shipping, because those are places I might want to put a new warehouse to reduce their shipping costs. So I'm going to go ahead and run this query. And as it's running, well, it was cached. That's not fair. That's cheating. Let's turn off caching so that we can actually see how fast BigQuery really is. There we go. Now we're running. Now, let's take a look at this and figure out what we're doing with our modern data warehouse. I'm taking a look at all of the orders that I've had over time and figuring out what the average cost of freight was. Then I'm taking that and scaling down profit to understand millions of dollars. And then beyond that, we're going to figure out what things look like year over year. I'm going to get the top 10 results. Now, I look at these top 10 results, and you can see very quickly places where people are paying a little bit over $6 in shipping. New York, Houston, Sacramento, El Paso, and that only took us 17.7 seconds. So that's a petabyte of sales data analyzed in 17 seconds. Pretty impressive. So I just did that using BigQuery. But what is BigQuery? Well, BigQuery is Google Cloud Platform's data warehouse. It's encrypted, durable, and highly available. It offers the convenience of standard ANSI-compliant SQL, as you just saw. But it also allows things like real-time analytics on streaming data. BigQuery can ingest tens of thousands of rows per second per table, and you can analyze rows exactly as they arrive. Now, the other thing you'll notice is that BigQuery is in fact petabyte scale, since we just analyzed a petabyte of data. And one of the things that makes BigQuery interesting as a modern data warehouse is it's fully managed and serverless. There's no infrastructure to manage, no hardware to provision, and very little in the way of DBA activities. You simply manage your data. You don't manage the system internals. Now, when we think about what this means, the benefits of Google BigQuery are distinct from what you might find in many existing data warehousing offerings. Now, first and foremost, it's scalable. As we've just shown, you really do get true multi-petabyte scalability, and we've in fact been battle testing the underlying technology in BigQuery for over a decade. It's also really, really simple. As you saw, I can simply go to a web interface, type in a query, and analyze data. You can also access it from a number of popular platforms in BI, ETL, and through a REST-based API, and numerous developer libraries. So between serverless simplicity and a host of access methods, it's really, really simple to integrate BigQuery into your workflow. One of the things we'll look at is it's very easy to share data in BigQuery. One of the things that we've found at Google is very important for helping teams get the most out of their data is making it easy to share relevant data with other groups of collaborators while maintaining security and control over them. And one of the things about BigQuery that really changes the game for modern data warehousing is that you can almost always save. Our fully managed service offers lower TCO than most systems, and you can choose the kind of billing you want to incur, whether it be pay-as-you-go and only for the work that you do, or a fixed flat rate fee. So let's dive a little bit into the architecture of Google BigQuery and talk about what makes it so special. What you see here is BigQuery's architecture. Now, we've decoupled storage and compute, and this is a powerful concept when we think about big data. When big data became a bit popular, one of the things that we often talked about was data is really big. We have to move compute to data because moving data around on networks is just tremendously costly. Now, open source projects and other organizations have tried to mimic some of the magic of Google's Dremel engine, which is what we started working on here over a decade ago. Dremel is Google's data warehouse. Over 80% of Googlers use Dremel on a daily basis. And with BigQuery, what we've done is we've taken the Dremel engine and added managed storage. But because Google's internal networks are so fast, what you get is the ability to have your storage and compute separate and still receive lightning-fast processing. This allows you to make very interesting decisions about where you place data. And importantly, you don't have to choose to provision storage specific for amounts of compute. You don't even have to necessarily use BigQuery's own storage. You can use a host of other GCP storage products and still access them using BigQuery. Now, beyond that, we offer numerous ways to load data into the platform, free bulk loading, streaming ingestion at tens of thousands of rows, and again, all of the sort of access methods you would expect out of a data warehouse built both for today and tomorrow. Now, let's talk a little bit about that managed storage. While BigQuery has millions of cores at its disposal to process your data using SQL, it also manages your data storage for you. And you get high availability and exceptional durability with BigQuery's managed storage. Data ingested into BigQuery is transformed into a columnar format and then stored within a region in multiple locations. This means that you don't have to worry about making a backup copy of your data or deploying a second instance to keep your system up and running. BigQuery handles all of that behind the scenes for you at no extra cost. So those are the internals of BigQuery at a high level. Now let's talk about what makes BigQuery different from a user experience and why it helps you on your journey to modernizing the data warehouse. So as a modern data warehouse, we think that BigQuery does some unique things. So just to point some of these things out, automatic data delivery is a huge part of BigQuery's value proposition. Rather than getting an empty box of servers that you have to stand up either on your premises or in another cloud, BigQuery will bring data in for you, either through public data sets, commercial data sets, or data transfer from Google managed sources like AdWords, DoubleClick, and YouTube. And we've talked a bit about sharing. Democratizing your data insights is an important step on the path from big data to AI. BigQuery allows you multiple ways to share and control access to data, as well as multiple ways to consume that data for people of every kind of analyst class. Put those two things together and you really start to build the foundation for AI. But we've gone a step further and worked to make sure that there are easy integrations with multiple popular ML platforms. Now, I've mentioned it before, but BigQuery's ability to handle real-time insights through streaming ingestion and SQL queries on top of that data allow you to take advantage of the fast-moving world of mobile data as well as the coming wave of IoT data. Now, beyond that, you can protect your business data between our durable, highly available storage and compute, as well as our 99.9% SLA. what you end up with is a very robust system with nothing for you to manage. And we've worked very hard to make sure that BigQuery meets many regulatory requirements, so it's likely right for your environment. All of that, paired with our serverless and fully managed capability, allows you to really simplify your data operations. You'll spend less time tuning systems, deploying infrastructure, and trying to figure out how to size things, and more time analyzing big data and laying a foundation for a machine intelligence-driven workflow. So let's drill in just a little bit. Automatic data delivery means that you get faster time to insight. It means that you can take the data that you have and you can bring to it the data you wish you had. Our automatic transfers from sources like AdWords and YouTube mean that you can get data delivered on a daily basis from systems you haven't been able to analyze before. Our shared public data sets and shared commercial data sets mean that you can go out and find the data that you need, or maybe data you didn't even know you needed, and bring it to bear on your analyses. And then finally, BigQuery has a unique ability through its separation of storage and compute to federate queries across all of GCP. This means that you can access data stored in Cloud Bigtable, Cloud SQL, Data Store, a number of other places, even Google Drive. Thus, you can actually get a real high-level view of all of your data from one spot. So let's take a little bit of a look at what automatic data delivery might do to the way we analyze data. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and return to our question about where should we put a new warehouse. Well, I've determined that I have a number of candidate cities that I might want to build a new warehouse in. But one of the things I know that my collaborators are going to want to know about is environmental impact. Well, I don't really know anything about environmental impact, I'll admit that. But BigQuery public data actually includes a set of EPA air quality data from most of the US. I could join that together with my findings and actually figure out maybe what are the air quality metrics I would want to share with my colleagues. Let's take a look. Here we go. So very simply, what I've done is I've gone and I've looked for this data set, EPA historical air quality. And so I've got an air quality annual summary. Well, with that, I can very easily say, for the year 2016, give me the parameters and arithmetic means for that data as it relates to the locations that I vetted as a candidate. And let's take a quick look at what that produces for us. Oh, there we go. Now, I'm not necessarily sure if these metrics are good or bad, but I do know that my collaborators will have a better sense than me. And so now, by joining public data, I've brought richness to my analysis that I can rely on my collaborators to help me make better decisions. Now, this automatic data delivery is really, really powerful, but it goes much beyond public data. We have the ability to both directly import data into BigQuery for you and to federate queries against other sources. Now, on the direct import, again, we have public data. We have data like Google Analytics, AdWords, YouTube, exports from Cloud Data Store, and soon from Cloud SQL. Now, federated query provides a unique capability to reach out and query live systems or archival data stored in GCP or in G Suite. So for example, you could store archival data in Google Cloud Storage cold line and query it with BigQuery when you needed to. This is a great way to keep your long-lived archival data at a low price per byte without having to compromise on how you analyze that data when you need to. If you have a number of spreadsheets floating around your organization, you can place those in Google Drive and query them with BigQuery. Thus, you can actually have your analyst class collaborate with the people writing spreadsheets in your organization so you don't have shadow data hiding inside. So let's talk about that democratization. Some of that democratization means that we can actually cast a wide net over the data assets stored within the warehouse and beyond. But some of it is also allowing you to power the business applications that you need to run your business today and the ones that will enhance your productivity tomorrow. Now, BigQuery provides connections with most of the popular BI and ETL tools, so it should fit seamlessly into your workload. And again, using our platform connectors and our direct data import, you can bring your siloed data sources together in a way that is unique. Now, you can also share data with other organizations by allowing them read-only access, or what we call authorized views, which exclude certain data from certain eyes. Now, we want to make sure that everybody has ways to democratize data in their organization. And as I mentioned, some of this has to do with partner tools, MicroStrategy, Tableau, Informatica, the popular tools you may use today. But we also want to make it very easy for organizations to share data more broadly at no additional cost. Two of the ways we do that are through Google Sheets and through Google Data Studio. Now, we allow you to take results from Google BigQuery and immediately export them into Google Sheets with a click of a button. This makes it very easy to prepare quick spreadsheets for other parts of the business. But you can also power Google Sheets with BigQuery, allowing you to make fixed, up-to-date spreadsheets that your organization can use without worrying about data quality. Now, beyond that, for people who want to report and create beautiful visualizations, Google Data Studio is a free tool that we offer that allows you to make beautiful reports using data from BigQuery, Cloud SQL, and a number of other popular analytics tools. So let's take a little bit of a look at what it might be to democratize data and share some of these results. Let's think about our warehouse case one last time and think about what it might be to visualize and share results. So I've gathered some information on air quality for my site locations, and I've gathered some potential site locations. But I probably don't want to just hand 2 SQL queries to my colleagues and say, there you go, guys, run with it. Instead, I'd like to make a report for them. So let's use Data Studio, a free tool that Google offers, to pull something together. Now, I'll admit, I've already started working on a report, but we're going to go in and edit it as well. So I've started my warehouse locations report. And I was able to add the 2 data sets that I've been working on around air quality and retail sales for warehouse locations into that report as data sources. It takes a couple of clicks. But what I'd like to do now is go in and add maybe a map of where the sort of total sales volume is. So all I do is I go and I grab a geo map, I drop it in here. And I'm going to use my warehouse's location data source. We're going to use the place name as my dimension. And then let's go ahead and use profit in millions of dollars. And just like that, you can see I've got a lovely map of the US with bubbles for each of the locations. Well, that's nice, but when I share this report with people, they're probably going to want to look at individual candidates and individual metrics for things. So what I'm going to do is just group this the same way I would in a spreadsheet kind of, or a slide kind of tool. I'm going to group them together, which will allow this data picker to actually filter things for me. Let's just take a quick look. So here's my map of the US. Here's some of my particulate information. And let's say I want to look at just the city of El Paso. Now I can see the total opportunity in El Paso and the different levels of air pollutants measured in that city. So that's a great way to share data with our collaborators, make it really, really easy to share things through Google Drive at no additional cost. Now, we're on the journey from big data to AI. And with BigQuery, we've taken great strains to make sure that BigQuery is the best place to store your structured data for building that AI foundation. Now, one, because much of the data you're going to analyze is structured. BigQuery's ability to store and efficiently process that large amount of data to refine is fundamental to AI. But beyond that, we want to make sure that you can use the machine learning tools of your choice to build that foundation. And as such, BigQuery has worked to offer a native TensorFlow reader, high throughput integration with Spark ML through Google Cloud Dataproc, as well as a number of client libraries that allow popular machine learning frameworks such as scikit-learn and MXNet to plug directly into the system. Again, real-time insights are going to be even more important on your journey to a real-time AI-driven business. As events arrive faster and faster, you need to be able to analyze things in real time. BigQuery allows you to stay responsive and be in the know because you can always query the most up-to-date data, even as it streams into the system live. The other thing that we want to make sure of with BigQuery is keeping that total cost of ownership in check. As I mentioned, in many cases, you will save using BigQuery. And so you're going to get great value for money with amazing cost for performance. And you're going to pay only for the resources that you need. You pay only for the storage that you need and only for the compute that you use. And as I mentioned, you can choose your payment model. You can either pay as you go for the resources that you use, or you can get a simple flat rate price for your whole organization and never worry about overages and billing. And best of all, you can get started for free. BigQuery offers a generous storage free tier that allows you 10 gigs of free storage and a terabyte of data analyzed every month. And that means that the data we analyze today might actually have been free. And we have a vast ecosystem of partners, ranging from data ingestion SaaS providers to traditional ETL and BI partners. Beyond that, you'll find that next-generation analytics companies like Trifacta and Cool Data are built to integrate closely with our platform. And we have a wide variety of service providers that you can leverage to help you get started on BigQuery today. So let's talk a little bit about a few customers who've made the journey from big data to AI using BigQuery. So the first company I want to talk about is Ocado. Now, you may not know Ocado if you live in the US, but they're a major grocery provider in the UK. Now, they've migrated almost all of their business platform, over 100 terabytes of data, to GCP, and BigQuery is that central data warehouse for them. Now, along the way, they have real-time data processing needs because, again, groceries are moving all the time. Logistics never sleeps. And they use Dataflow for batch processing pipelines and our Google Cloud PubSub system to message data across the platform. And the results for them have been astounding. They've seen over 1,000% sales conversion on thousands of products. And this means over £5 million a year optimized in spend for their long-term customers. Bottom line, that's better ROI for them and reduced damaged orders. So more inventory is going where it needs to go and staying unbroken. Now, when we think about the benefits of automated data transfer, MultiChoice is a great example of this. MultiChoice is using our data transfer service to bring in sources from many Google managed services. So MultiChoice, as a telecom provider, has over 8 million customers. And when they moved to BigQuery, they brought together over 27 data sources. Now, when we think about that ability to manage structured and unstructured data from across your organization, you probably have 27 or more data sources. MultiChoice shows that it's possible. This data was no longer in a silo. They had a single view of the data estate. And so what this amounts to is over 2 billion rows of data, and they now have a unified custom view of what their customers are doing, and they're able to aid their product and marketing campaigns to make better decisions about both their ad spend and how to reach their customers. And finally, let's talk a little bit about Zulily, the popular e-commerce site. So Zulily has a fast-changing business. Inventory is different every day. Sales are different every day, which means that they have to stay up to date to serve their nearly 5 million customers. So on a given day, they may have 100 events and 9,000 different product styles. And by integrating their data with Google BigQuery and using that as the analytics workhorse for their recommendations and their product placement, they find that they were able to connect and analyze all of their data using a scalable architecture that didn't force them to capacity plan for specific boxes and specific storage sizes. And BigQuery's ability to handle real-time ingestion and real-time analysis meant that they can really keep up with the pace of their rapidly moving sales environment. And so with that, I'd like to remind you to get started with Google BigQuery for free. All you have to do is go to cloud.google.com/BigQuery, and that'll let you try out BigQuery using our generous free tier for free. Now, beyond that, I hope you've got some questions about what we've talked about so far, because there are experts standing by ready to answer your questions. And stay with us for the rest of the conference, because we've got a lot of great content coming up. Thanks.
Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed learning about BigQuery with Dan. Now, the next question I've got is for you, Joanna. A developer wants to find out more about working for Google and what skills we look for while recruiting for technical roles. So what do you look for when you're conducting an interview?
Right. So when I do technical interviews where the entire process centers around a coding problem, I'm actually evaluating for SWE and DevRel skills simultaneously. And what makes interviewing for developer relations different than a traditional SWE technical interview is that I also have to judge a candidate's communication and teaching ability.
Sure.
So how you explain your solution and structure your answer becomes just as important as actually solving the problem. But even if it isn't a DevRel interview, I think these skills can help a candidate shine in any interview. Being able to present yourself coherently will help you appear polished, intelligent, and capable. And that's always going to be impressive. So when you practice your interviews, ask your friends and coworkers for feedback on that. And like the flow of your answer, the structure, it can make the world of difference for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting how many of these sort of technical interview specific things can really help in all interviews.
Yes, so we're going to welcome back the AI track now. Everyone joining us from the crash course on the Google Cloud Machine Learning API with Sarah Robinson, who's super awesome and one of my favorite DAs.
Absolutely.
And everyone, we're talking about how Google recruits. So, Rado, what do you love about working for Google and about being a developer advocate?
I'm glad you asked. I'm someone, honestly, who tends to get bored working at the same job for a long time. In the past, I've usually found that about 6 months is kind of the limit. It's not a long time. I'm just someone who likes to continuously explore new technologies, and it's that combination of working at an innovative company, which is always creating new things to play with, and then having a role like developer advocacy, where it's kind of my job to learn about these new technologies first, and then I get the opportunity to learn about this stuff and then talk about it with other people. Get their feedback, see how they're using it, give them ideas of how they may want to be taking advantage of these things. I've been at Google for nearly 9 years, but it seems like every 6 months there's a chance to learn something new. And as an advocate, I really get to take advantage of that and learn those new things and work with people. And so it really does feel kind of like a new job every 6 months, even 9 years later.
That's pretty convenient.
Yeah, so I guess I've had like 18 jobs, something like that. Which sometimes it can feel
18 jobs,
that way.
no interviews. It's like the dream goal, right?
It's the best way to go ahead. Certainly easier than having to ace your technical interview.
Oh, yeah. No, those can be intimidating, but with enough practice, you can feel good.
Absolutely.
So let's actually table that for now. Everyone joining from Dr. Ariuk's section, welcome back. We are talking about applying to Google because Google Cloud is hiring. So if you find that even a little interesting, you should apply today.
Absolutely. So, Joanna, what tips would you give someone who's looking to join Google?
So quite honestly, check out our website, google.com/jobs. We have tons of information on the hiring process and how that works and what you can expect, as well as resources for anyone looking to prepare for a technical interview. And most importantly, we are constantly updating our job opportunities, which are searchable by role, product, and location. So you can find opportunities that are perfect for you.
Absolutely. So now we've got about a minute until the next sessions come up. Let's talk about what we've got coming up next. In Big Data, you can learn how to simplify ETL with a stream analytics solution that's easy to adapt, adopt, scale, and manage with Sergey and Kerr.
For the AI track, tune into Reimagining Conversational Experiences with Cloud Speech and Dialogue Flow with Dan, who has, fun fact, tracked up both sides of Mount Everest.
That is intimidatingly impressive. And for folks who are in the financial sector, learn what AI means to you with Scott Penberthy.
As a reminder, you can ask questions all day. We have Googlers standing by. They're on the ready. And you can leave your session feedback inside of each session. So have fun, and we'll see you again in less than 30 minutes.